What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today we are checking out WhatCulture Star Wars. You guys are always asking for more of these, so I'm gonna keep on doing them because they are actually pretty entertaining and easy to watch, so that's why I do these. But this video is 10 things you didn't know about Anakin Skywalker. So I'm going to see if I actually know these or if I don't know these. For those of you who don't know, Anakin is my second favorite character out of all of Star Wars. So I probably know a lot of these, but there's probably some I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how many I actually know. And feel free to let me know down below if you knew these or if you didn't know these. And also, if you guys have any cool ideas for future videos, I'm trying to do a video every single day for the rest of the year. So if you have any videos you want to see me react to, you have any ideas for like a tier list or anything like that, let me know in the comments below, because if I use your suggestion, I will give you a shout out in that video. But with that said, guys, let's begin. Let's see how many I know.
Anakin Skywalker. Number 10, his name very nearly belonged to his son. You've likely already stumbled upon the fact that George Lucas's first steps into this now global juggernaut of a galaxy far, far away involved a fair few ideas that ultimately weren't deemed suitable for the finished article. Among them was the surname originally gifted to the farm boy who would become Lucas's main protagonist for his original trilogy. And while most are aware that Luke Skywalker was initially set to be known as young Starkiller in the early stages of A New Hope's development, many aren't as clued up as to what his original first name would have been. The first draft of the Star Wars had a young Anakin Starkiller duking it out with Darth Vader, with that youngster being the 16-year-old son of a legendary warrior. Lucas would clearly keep elements of Anakin when it came time to shift the character towards the Luke we know and love today. But it is interesting to note that the previous first name of Vader once belonged to his eventual son years before it was officially incorporated into Star Wars lore.
I think I did
Albeit with
hear
a
that,
slightly altered spelling.
but I forgot about
Number 9,
that.
he built his first
Interesting.
lightsaber at 12 years of age. Joining the Jedi game at a relatively late stage, Anakin Skywalker had a bit of catching up to do when it came to his overall training, but the Force-sensitive prodigy still managed to get up to speed at a rather rapid pace, and even managed to forge his first sacred tool of the Jedi by the age of 12. With most younglings pulling off this feat between the ages of 8 to 13, this once again meant that Anakin showed remarkable prowess and skill with the Force despite his lack of experience in comparison to his contemporaries. According to the novel Jedi Quest Path to the Truth, the realizing of his first lightsaber came on the back of himself and Obi-Wan Kenobi traveling to Ilum to forge the weapon. When there, young Skywalker proceeded to meditate before dispatching specters of Darth Maul and a slaver. Once he was done kicking ghostly ass, his saber was fully formed in front of him, balanced ideally towards his own personal needs. It was said to be heavy-hilted and rigid, enhancing his exceptional strength before it was destroyed in Attack of the Clones. So much for that.
Okay, wow.
Number 8,
So
why
it's the
his
same
lightsaber
lightsaber
was
from
that color.
when he was a kid.
Keeping
That's cool.
with little Annie's trusty weapon of choice in his Jedi days, the reason behind his iconic blade being the color it ultimately wasn't just a case of George Lucas closing his eyes and slamming his finger onto a color palette at random. Far from it. Skywalker's color of unmistakable blue over the course of the original, prequel, and sequel trilogies was the result of the Jedi himself's meditation throughout the aforementioned creation of the blade on Ilum. It's during this process that a youngling's personality and relationship with the Force is imbued into the weapon, leading to its eventual color being a reflection of said imprint. In Anakin's case, his eventual weapon wound up landing the Jedi in the Guardian class, a group known for their blue sabers generally. This shade represented the more physical side of the world, and the users of these lightsabers were said to have been more gifted when it came to athleticism and dueling, meaning Anakin fit the class like a glove over a mechanical hand. Number 7, he almost left the Jedi Order at 12 years old. Jumping back into the earlier years of Anakin's Jedi training now, and to a moment that would actually foreshadow an act that would change the galaxy forever. With much of the youngster's life being somewhat decided for him throughout his training years, his early exchanges with Chancellor Palpatine, particularly a trip to the sublevels of Coruscant, eventually led to a few seeds of doubt being planted into the youngling's mind. Before long, Anakin felt that he was fed up with the way his life was panning out, and confronted his master Obi-Wan about the prospect of turning his back on the Jedi Order. In this moment, Anakin went as far as to hold out his lightsaber and tell his master, "This doesn't have to be forever, I can always come back." To which Kenobi responded by trying to get the Chosen One to reconsider. In the end, another of the pair's many adventures inevitably forced him back into the fold, and saw him take up his Jedi weapon once again. But the seeds were very much planted from a young age for his eventual fall. Number 6, where that's...
You know, I just want to say this real quick. I think one of the interesting things about Anakin, or I should even say about like the prequel trilogy, like if the prequel trilogy would have came first, I think that Anakin's lightsaber would have been green, and not just because green lightsabers are my personal favorite, but I mean like I think it'd be interesting to have Anakin have the same lightsaber color as Qui-Gon. Like even if he were to eventually adopt Qui-Gon's lightsaber, something along those lines, they probably would have gone that way if episode 4, 5, and 6 didn't come before episode 1, 2, and 3. That'd be interesting. I always wondered like why no one ever used Qui-Gon's lightsaber. And apparently Obi-Wan did for a little bit, but eventually he did retire it when he made his second lightsaber that we see in episode 2. But then again, there is that deleted scene where Luke actually forges the green lightsaber with Qui-Gon's lightsaber crystal, which is pretty cool. I know that's not actually canon though, but I'm actually okay with that. I'm okay with that explanation. I like the idea of Qui-Gon's lightsaber continuing on after his death and having some sort of impact. So yeah, that's always cool to me.
Scar came from. Away from the mainline prequel episodes that saw Jake Lloyd and Hayden
Okay, I know where he got it. It was from
a
Asajj. I know this one.
Anakin Skywalker experienced a rather gripping rivalry with another apprentice of sorts, both in comic books and throughout the animated Clone Wars TV saga. And it's during one of his many skirmishes with one Asajj Ventress that this chosen one wound up with one of his most iconic physical traits, that being his distinct facial scar down the right side of his mug. Coming in the comic book by the name of Republic Dreadnoughts of Rendili, a trip back down to the lower levels of Coruscant to listen to a message from his beloved Padme would lead to Anakin being ambushed by the Pale Assassin. Nudging Skywalker into an enforced rage, Ventress would prove too great a match for the Jedi and skillfully manage to carve the cut into his face. Adding further insult to injury, the Dathomirian would then leave with a quip involving her confessing that she could have killed Anakin there and then, but simply chose not to because she wanted him to know that she could first. What a son of a gun. Number 5, he's a master of multiple dueling styles. As already alluded to, Anakin Skywalker was very much famed for his ability with a lightsaber, going on to become one of the most decorated and respected generals the Republic had to offer in the Clone Wars. So it likely comes as little surprise to discover that Obi-Wan's brother from another mother was actually well versed in a number of lightsaber combat forms. With there being 7 forms in total, Anakin clearly saw the advantage in brushing up on as many as possible before taking on everything from droids to Dark Lords of the Sith. And it was because of this dedication to perfecting his blade craft that he ultimately ended up becoming somewhat of a master of multiple styles. Form 4, aka Aturu, a style known for being aggressive and using force-assisted attacks, and Form 5, Shien and Gemso, a style suited to attacks from a distance and blade-on-blade combat, are just a few of the ways Skywalker opted to get the job done with his lightsaber in hand. It was also said that Anakin actually bested many a Jedi Knight who claimed to be masters of each of the 7 forms over the course of his rise. In short, he was bloody good with a blade. Number 4, he has the power to tame beasts. Adding to the impressive toolkit of this Jedi legend, a little trick that was also frequently utilized by his former master actually appeared to be passed on to the one-time Jedi Knight in the midst of his training. After spending his years as a youngling and Padawan trying and often failing to tame many a beast beside Obi-Wan Kenobi, sometimes even being forced to cut down the creatures as a last resort, the penny clearly dropped for Anakin by the time
That's a
of
cool
Attack of
episode.
the Clones, as Skywalker was able to
The whole father,
successfully
brother, and
calm
sister
down
episode.
and later ride
That's
a
good.
reek in the midst
Mortis.
of the Battle of Geonosis. The first one, that is. This wouldn't be the first or last time said beast-taming skill would be seen in the Star Wars universe though, with everyone from Darth Bane to Qui-Gon Jinn showing off their mastery of animal whispering over the years too. Number 3, Leonardo DiCaprio and Christian Bale nearly played him. Since taking our planet by storm with his original
I heard
trilogy,
Leo, I never heard
just about
Christian,
every
though.
actor known to mankind has been doing everything in their power to become part of George Lucas's galaxy far, far away. So when the time came to finally have the mighty Anakin Skywalker strut his stuff as an adult on the live-action stage, pretty much every rising star in the industry was in line to play Obi-Wan's Padawan in the prequels. Among this star-studded roster were the likes of Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio. While Leo would ultimately pass up on the chance to swing a blue blade about for a few blockbuster offerings, Bale was said to have been Lucas's first choice for the part. But it just wasn't meant to be, and instead Hayden Christensen would make his own divisive mark, not exactly aided by Lucas's dodgy dialogue on the prequels.
I guess I could
Thankfully,
see
the
Bale
star
doing
looks
it.
set to revisit the role once more in the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series, and will no doubt be out to prove his many vocal critics wrong through his long-awaited Skywalker Vader comeback. Number 2, droid wedding gifts. Wedding gifts are a tradition not just respected in our universe,
I knew this
but
one.
in the intergalactic world of Star Wars too. You love to see it. Yet in the case of Anakin Skywalker, his lack of possessions in general, thanks to his Jedi lifestyle, meant that he didn't exactly have a whole lot to offer in terms of impressive gifts on his secret wedding day. He did, however, possess a certain droid that he just so happened to build with his own 2 hands before one of them got cut off. Yeah. So Anakin decided to give Padme Amidala C-3PO on the day of their wedding, with his now wife returning the favor by handing him possession of a faithful astromech known as R2-D2. This largely explains why R2 rarely leaves Anakin's side throughout the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, and why 3PO spends increasingly less time with his creator as the series unfolds. So next time you're in need of a last-minute wedding present, why not hand the happy couple or your soon-to-be spouse a trusty protocol droid or astromech and let the good times roll? Or not, you do you. Number 1, the prequel villains all relate to his own fall. While you'd be forgiven for assuming that a great many of the arrivals that made their presence known in the prequel trilogy were merely pumped into the Star Wars universe as a way of shifting colourful toys, in reality, George Lucas actually appeared to use Episode 1, 2, and 3's key villains as a way to highlight the various stages of his central figure's fall into the dark side. In Darth Maul, you have a Sith acolyte consumed by rage and aggression, traits shared by Skywalker. Count Dooku pretty much mirrors Anakin's own eventual fate as a fallen Jedi who becomes Darth Sidious's apprentice, and General Grievous' appearance acts as a subtle piece of foreshadowing for the cyborg future that is right around the corner for Skywalker on the back of his fateful duel with Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Combine all 3 together and you have the tragic equation needed to
That's one of those things I always knew, I
most
just never really thought much about it.
And recognizable big bad pop culture has ever known.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Yeah, so some of those I did know. The majority of them I didn't know. I was kind of hoping they'd do a little more deep diving on Anakin. This was kind of a very surface level Anakin Skywalker stuff. But yeah, that was a pretty good video, guys. But what about you guys? Did you know any of these? Let me know in the comments below. Like I said at the beginning of this video, if you guys have any cool videos like this you want to see me react to and give my opinion on, let me know in the comments below, because I'll give you a shout out in that video if I use your suggestion. But with that said, guys, thanks again for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn notifications for more videos, and I'll catch you later. Peace.